say goodbye, but don't leave just yet. My name's Madzie 2000, and welcome to the third day of Christmas. Today, um, technically it is still day. I wrote in my notes that it should be night. Um, it's about 3 in the morning, so forgive me if I sound a little drowsy. Today we're going to discuss Yule or Yuletide, which is the original Christmas before Christianity came along and decided that it was not wholesome enough. But I have a few ideas why that might be. So, Yuletide was celebrated in Germanic, Anglo-Saxon, and Old Norse regions and religions. So originally, the Yule celebration was tied to Odin, who leads the Wild Hunt. Wild Hunt is a gathering of Odin's kin, family, or otherwise, and it is the process of spirits and gods passing through the sky. It was said to be an ill omen, particularly a plague or pestilence, if it were to be witnessed by mortals. Sorry, I have to move this so I can read my script. Oh dear. You guys are going to end up here, so I don't know how you'll feel about that. Let's see how we go. So, spirits and ghosts are also supposed to be particularly active on this night, including the undead Draugr, who you might know from Skyrim. And at the festivities for Yule, there was usually a lot of feasting and a lot of toasting, but I think the reason that the Wild Hunt might have also been quite important in terms of spirits is for the 3 toasts that the pagans made, particularly people who follow the Old Norse gods, likely the Aesir or Aesir, and the Vanir, which include Odin, Frigga, Loki, and Thor, who most people would know from the Marvel films. So the first toast was to Odin. It was for victory and power to the king, or to the... I would assume the king of the region, or by king they mean the All-Father, because Odin was sort of like the head of the pantheon of the Nordic gods. The second toast would go to Freya for a good harvest and for peace. And the final one, which I think is actually quite sweet, it kind of reminds me a bit of Thanksgiving, is a third and final toast to all the dead. These celebrations would usually take place around June 21st or June 20th, depending on what day suits a person better. Now, you're probably wondering, what about me? I don't follow the same pagan gods that the Old Norse and Anglo-Saxons and the Gauls, I believe, would have. I want to be historically accurate, but at the same time, it's 3 a.m. I should be a little nicer to myself. So on the 21st of June, we have the beginning of winter. And within the Hades and Persephone mythos, when Hades takes Persephone to the underworld, or if she goes on her own, her mother becomes enraged and the world falls into autumn and winter. So for me, the 21st of June, I would probably, dramatic as it might sound, I think I'd be wearing all black just for the day to sort of symbolize that I'm in grieving for Persephone having to leave, but also because a lot of the spell casting and sigil making I do take on less, not less positive, would take on less of a lively kind of interaction. Something else I wanted to discuss quite quickly is the way that Christianity changed the celebrations that people of pagan religions had, particularly in Europe. So, first and foremost, they changed the dates to suit pagan rituals, and so in the Northern Hemisphere, this would actually be closer to the 25th of December. Why does that sound familiar? Because that's when most people celebrate Christmas nowadays. They changed the name from Yuletide to Christmastide, and eventually just to Christmas. Christ Mass. There was also this holiday, sorry, not this holiday, this particular ritual called Modranicht. I'm sorry if I've if I butchered the name, but Modranicht was basically, I think they called it Mother's Night. Essentially, blood was spilled to bless the land. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with Easter, but what happens on Easter? Christ spills his blood and purifies people's souls. So I thought that was just a very interesting thing to just pull in as well. The fact that Easter could have also been modelled off of Modernicht. And first and foremost, they changed the name. Uh, they changed it to have Christ in the name. They got rid of Yule, and they got rid of all the names and the way people celebrate it to make it more Christ-like and to really try and cleanse it of anything that seemed, not unholy, but probably to be a bit more of a holy holiday for the growing Christian community. Now that I've filled your mind with the image of poor women and a bunch of people standing around watching blood be spilled, um, potentially sacrificing people as well. The fact that it's got Modra, which means mother, um, for Modra nicht, that's kind of concerning because, well, in case you haven't noticed, I have some very feminine features, and I definitely do not plan on cutting my body up to celebrate Yule anytime soon. I think in my case, in June, I actually might have to do it in reverse because according to the law, she has had 4 children with Hades. Um, in the months time she's spent in the underworld with Hades, so perhaps I should be wearing lots of black throughout June to August simply because she's only got a month to be with her husband, then the rest of the time she's going to spend up here with us. So I'll definitely pester Persephone and Hades quite a bit when she is above ground. I think uh June June through to August might actually be the time where I cool it and leave sigil work and spell casting simply because she wants to spend time with her hubby and she's got 1 month. I'm sure she might get sick of it eventually and decide, yes, I want to go back. I think she appreciate the time off to spend with her hubby. So to go back on to go back on myself a bit and say, I'm not going to make a huge fuss about it. I will still celebrate Christmas with the rest of my family though, so I don't need to worry about that. Thank you for listening to me ramble a little, listening to me talk about Yule and Christmas, and sort of the connections between the two of them. I appreciate you all, love you all. Hades and Persephone's blessing on you all, and have a lovely Christmas. Goodbye.